life is not, a script. It's going to change direction. You're going to have opportunities, and when you kind of engross yourself into that world of what you actually love to do, you start seeing all these other doors open. Just do it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, you're right, and I love it. And I love your passion today. I love your excitement today, though you are like this a lot, but it's just getting bigger and better every time that we have conversations. That I reached 10,000 downloads.
Woo.
Whoop, whoop. And 90 countries listening in.
Amazing.
Which was a massive achievement. Completely unexpected, but it's keeping me going. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from students and pharmacists who've been listening, and it's been really extraordinary. It really does make the role rewarding. Hello friends, and welcome to Pharmacist Diaries, the podcast that reveals the secret lives of pharmacists, from where their journeys began, where they are now, and everything in between. Before we start today's conversation, I'd really like to take the time to say thanks. A thank you to all of you who have chosen to listen or watch the podcast, but also a thank you to all of my guests who have chosen to dive deep into conversation with me and share their professional and personal journeys. You guys have enabled me to embed creativity into my day-to-day life, and I'm so fortunate that I can share that joy and passion with you through this platform. This podcast has been a passion project of mine outside of my role as a full-time pharmacist, a mother and a wife. Everything you see and hear has been built in my spare time. In order for this platform to grow and provide you with insight into the lives of pharmacists, I really need you to hit that subscribe button. I am super excited for what's in store for 2023, and a lot of that will depend on the number of you that subscribe to the channel and tune in to regular conversations. Thanks again for all the support, and I'm really looking forward to the development of this podcast and our pharmacy community. Don't forget, my website is now live and up and running. You can access full show notes to all of my episodes and more at www.pharmacistdiaries.com. Make sure you subscribe to my newsletter so you can receive emails of upcoming episodes, free content, and regular inspiration. Now let's see what's in store for this week's episode. Hello.
Hello.
Here we are again.
Here we are again.
But this time on video.
Round 3. I think this is the third time we tried to record this podcast. With video. Maybe
With
it's the
video.
video that's causing the problem. But here we are in HD. How's it been?
Good. I have so much to update everyone. I've had to bring my notebook.
Yeah, we're a bit more prepared this time with what we want to talk about. So first of all, I think this is the first time we're actually recording a podcast from this new home. So
Yes.
Congratulations on the new home.
Agreed. So exciting.
Yeah, it feels like this move, and I've been talking about it on the podcast for so long, it feels like it's been going on for so long, but it has gone on for so long, hasn't it? And we're sitting here in October recording this, and it's been a few months since we've actually fully moved in, but it just feels like now things are starting to settle and routine is kicking in.
I know. I missed it. I was craving it, and finally it feels like we're getting into routine now, which is good.
Yeah. So, so we're in the new place. Very happy. I am anyway. We've decided to come out here to the country. You've probably seen some of my stories about, going for walks and going for runs and things like that. So yeah, things are good in that sense. We've put the move behind us. And as you said, routine. Yeah, it's just getting back into routine. And I think for a while there, we both really struggled with routine because we were living between two flats, and one of us would, you'd be in London, I'd not be in London, and the other way around, or, it was just, it felt like
Chaos.
Chaos is the right word.
It's a great word for it, because that's actually how it felt.
It did feel like chaos, wasn't it? And the whole summer holiday went past. I didn't even notice that summer's gone, and we were just getting used to sorting out. It was our very first summer holiday, school summer holiday, where we didn't have childcare, because all the previous summer holidays, August in particular, the nursery that Liliana went to were open. And even throughout COVID, right, we were lucky because of key worker status, we were able to send her So this was the first time where they're like, oh, we're actually shut over the summers. And we're like, oh, okay. So now we had to figure out what to do. And I know every parent has to do this, but it was the first time we had to do it. So it was a juggle fest.
It was an experience, but luckily, because I'm organised, I had every week planned and prepared.
Yeah. So we've taken a lot of steps. I think because we've moved to this new place, it's been a good opportunity to just reflect and set new routines, set new habits, so that we can, make things work for us. We've spent a lot of time, and we'll do a separate update on this, or maybe I'll just do a video on it, on getting the place ready and creating our environment. We talked about this in our habit change before, where having the right environment around you to be productive, to feel more energetic, to want to do the things that you love doing. And we've done that. We've got the garden done, we've had all the decorating done, we've had our offices done. That was a priority for us to have our own space to work from. So we've done all of those things. And I think around that is then obviously our behaviors and the way that we want to live our life and the projects that we want to spend our time on. And that was the big, I think we were both struggling with that. I certainly was, with regards to just being consistent with, just things like exercise, being consistent with things like diet. Again, when we were living between two homes, and, it would be takeaways, it would be quick fixes to meals, not necessarily always unhealthy food, but just quick fixes. And it wasn't sustainable going forward. So we had to go dig deep and figure out a lot of that stuff. But of course, we took a major step in helping ourselves by enrolling a coach. So we got ourselves a coach, and we are now sitting here, 1 week after the 12. So it was a 12-week long coaching program, which has just finished. It's been a week. How was withdrawals on week number 1?
Well, last night was the first night that we didn't have a session, and though I was really upset that we weren't going to be meeting up as a group anymore, I had a really nice evening, and I refound my love for yoga again, which was really strange, wasn't it? When I got home, really excited. And I guess, I do love yoga, and I've enjoyed it for many years. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, I kind of stopped doing it on a regular basis, and I didn't really understand why. And yesterday I really craved it, and I thought, let me try it out and kind of restart my journey again. Because I'm an all or nothing human, aren't I? Like you. It's either I go big or I go home. And I'm learning to kind of change my mindset. And part of that was through the coaching, is that actually small habits are still habits, and they're still good for you. So instead of aiming towards, 90 minutes of Ashtanga yoga every day, which is what I thought was what I wanted to do, and I still would like to achieve that. But if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't do yoga at all. Yeah. And now I'm starting to understand a little bit more about myself, and being a bit more compassionate towards myself, that actually it doesn't matter if you haven't done 90 minutes, 10 to 15 is absolutely fine. And yesterday I noticed I did half an hour yesterday, and actually I could have done a lot more, but I did my 30 minutes and I was really pleased with my progress, and it was good. And I've been really enjoying kind of creating this new routine and environment for us, and so many good changes have come out of it amidst the chaos. Yeah. Kind of crazy timing though, if you think about it. We had so much going on, and then on top of that we put in some coaching, but it was kind of perfect.
I think when we first pulled the trigger, and then we were like, oh, are we really going to have time for this? And it wasn't the fact that it was it was only an hour a week, or 2 hours, hour and a half, 90 minutes a week, once on one day. So you had to have 90 minutes free on one day, which was obviously for us was a Tuesday evening. But then there was time to put in, to make it work and make it really be effective. There's other times put in to do the work, right? It's not just about turning up, it's doing the work, and there'll be reading to do, there'll be videos to watch around the topic that we're talking about. And I thought the same. I thought, oh, this is going to be very difficult. I'm trying to juggle, getting things set up, and my day job like you have as well, and just home life, and Lily, and school runs, and podcasts, and Zyla podcasts, and all these other things that I'm involved in at the moment. But actually, I think it helped give us real structure and clarity around what is important and what we need to focus on. And I think that was that feeling of overwhelm. It's still a little bit there, but I think we have a structure, we have a strategy to try and figure this stuff out. So I think straight off the bat, for me, the coaching was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It really, even though as a coach, a lot of the principles I've been familiar with, although I wasn't aware of them, right? I was, oh yeah, I do that. And I didn't realize these things. I think it was just such a great way to help. For me, the most important thing I got from it was the clarity, was just the clear understanding of who I am, what my roles are in life, and then how to prioritize around those. I think that was a big part of it. So yeah, I think it came at the right time. I think you're right. It was, even though we had a lot of chaos going on, I think it brought a lot of calm to that chaos, and it gave us a way out of it, which is exactly what I think we both feel now, having finished the program for 12 weeks.
Yeah, it was exactly what we needed. And when we signed up for it, I was really motivated and interested, and I was really, quite passionate in making that change, because I knew I was kind of in a funk, and I knew I needed some support to kind of change that. And it gave me everything that I needed to bring us back to normality, which was great, and a lot more.
Yeah, and a lot more. Yeah. So the structure was interesting as well, because it's the first time. Well, let's go back a step. I think, why did we both do it? And I think initially I was the one who was going to do it, and I thought, this is great. But I know that if the two of us are doing it, because all the things I'm going to learn on this program are going to be things that I want to apply in our life. And if you're not on board, and if I have to, relay the message third hand to you or second hand, say, oh, this is what we did, and then try to get you to understand it from me. So if I tried to coach you the coaching program, it would have ended in disaster. And we both wouldn't have been fully on board. And I think that I just felt, well, is this going to be worthwhile? So I think the both of us doing it meant that we were both there, turning up each week. We were taking it, we were hearing it from the horse's mouth, literally, ourselves, and would interpret that information our own way. We'd both get a little bit of coaching along the way, and I think it's turned out really, really well. I'm so glad we actually put the effort in and the investment in for both of us to do it, because I feel like now we are on the same page when it comes to understanding, what we're doing and what we're trying to talk about, or where we're trying to go with this. So I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely would have, had FOMO if you had done it without me, because I would have felt like I was missing out. Because I'm sure
Why?
I would have seen you, changing and growing and getting really excited about all your ideas, and I would have felt like, man.
But you never used to feel like that when I used to go to the gym and think, oh yeah, he's going to the gym, he's working out, look at him, he's deadlifting, and I wish I would, you didn't get FOMO then, or did you?
Well, clearly I must have, because I used to join you at the gym, and I started doing, CrossFit and strength training, and though I did some before, it really heightened when we were together in Dubai, and we used to go to the gym together, like on Fridays.
That wasn't FOMO, that was just you wanting to be
like you.
Be like me. Everyone wants to be like Mike. Yeah, that wasn't FOMO. That was you just, we're living in a foreign country together. I need to do something to be with my husband a little bit more. Let me go and take some interest in his interests. And that's great. That's fantastic. Anyone listening out there, take interest in your partner's interests. That will make life a lot easier.
Are you going to start jewelry making with me?
No, but I've started doing yoga.
Yes.
Since I met you.
You have.
I was never doing yoga before I met you.
Yeah, true.
I'd done a few classes because I worked.
I think
you
did Pilates.
No, I did some yoga at Optimal way before I met you when they first started doing it. But apart from that, I never really took
and
interest in
body
it.
balance with Laura.
Yeah, I started doing that. Yeah, so I started getting into that. I'm getting into gardening because of your love for wanting to have that outside space, and I'm starting to appreciate that a little bit more. Although it's not the top of my favorite things to do in the world, but I still am enjoying it. So no, there are things that I'm doing, but no, it wasn't, I don't think it was FOMO. Well, maybe you would have got FOMO. But or was it because of who it was that was coaching that you were getting FOMO?
Yeah, Mr. Nilesh Satguru.
Yeah.
I love that guy so much.
So that's who we did the coaching with. We did the coaching with Dr. Nilesh Satguru, who I met through Instagram. He's my first and he's my very first Instagram friend. So I got in touch with him, and it was during the lockdown, wasn't it? It was during COVID, or maybe just before. I can't remember. Anyway, it was during the lockdown, and we got in touch. He came on my podcast, episode 25, Power of Sleep. Go and check it out. You can hear his dulcet tones talk about sleep in that episode. So he came on my podcast, and we just kept in touch ever since. I've always supported the work that he's done. He is not only a doctor, a GP, a lifestyle medicine doctor. At that, he is a high performance coach. So he has gone through a program to be able to coach high performers, and I guess that's the phrasing high performance goes, well, what's high performance? High performance is performing at a high level in everything you do, right? So we're not here talking about athletes or CEOs or entrepreneurs, and yes, all of those apply. They all require high performance. But if you're a mother, if you're a father, if you're an employee, you want to perform at your best. You want to perform at your highest level in everything you're doing. So I think this coaching was designed around helping anybody perform at their highest level, no matter what you are in life. And I think that's important. It's not just about, so don't sit there and think, oh, I'm not a high performer. Well, you want to be, and you probably are in some fields or something that you do. And it's just applying that to everything else in your life. So he's a high performance coach, and he put together a group coaching program, which was 12 weeks long. So this is what we enrolled in. And the fact that it was a group coaching program was also interesting. I was a little bit unsure how that was going to work, but actually it turned out to be very, very rewarding and very interesting. We met a fantastic group of people who all had, brilliant stories to share. And also, you saw, as you said about me, you would have seen that. We saw that in the program. We saw people grow and change shift their beliefs and change their habits, and it was just a great it was rewarding, right? And this is kind of why I love what I do as a coach, because every 2 weeks I get on those sessions and I see the same people, and then weeks pass and months pass, and they start telling you about their progress, and you start seeing them change, and they're starting talking differently, and it's so rewarding as a coach to have that. And I'm so happy for Nilesh as well that he got on his first ever coaching program. I feel that there was so much positivity and so much change that was taking place in that group that it definitely would have made him feel good that it was all worthwhile. So
yeah, and I just love how he takes genuine interest in what you're getting up to, and when things change for you and life becomes more positive or more productive, or you demonstrate courage, any of the kind of changes that you've made to your life, that progression, he really does take interest, and he gets so excited. I love it. I love his excitement and his little energy and his smile every time he comes on to the video recordings. It does make you happy.
Yeah, there's a real passion, there's a real interest in people and wanting to change. So the coach was excellent. The program was excellent. What I wanted to do today is I wanted to go through some of the key areas that we went through. I don't want to go into every single session that we did, but there's some key things that we took out of this, and we both took out of this, and some key sessions that I think were really, really important. And I want to just talk about some examples around this. Somewhere near the beginning, and this is a session that resonated with me the most, I think it might have even been session 1, but was the session we did on clarity. You remember that one?
My favourite one.
That's your favourite? Okay. Well, why don't you start? What did you get out of clarity, and what did that mean to you?
I think in terms of high performance and just my life in general, I like to get involved with a lot of things. I like to do a lot. I like to be really productive. I like to achieve what I want to achieve. Whether it's working in palliative care, whether it's, doing the lecturing at King's College London, now the podcast, mentoring so many students at the moment, which I love. Parenting, everything. There's, my movement, kind of like my nutrition, my sleep. There's so many things that I kind of know I need to focus on. But I didn't really understand or kind of appreciate why I was focusing on what areas. And looking, I guess, a few steps ahead as to where those areas of my life would transition into. So I'm quite new, for example, to pediatrics and palliative care. And obviously I've talked about palliative care a lot on my podcast and how much I'm enjoying it. how much reward I get from the patients, from the team, all the service improvement that I'm doing. But, what's my 5-year goal in that area? Or what's my 1-year goal? What's my 3-month goal? I never really set those intentions. I never really understood what it is that I wanted. And I just kind of been in the flow of productivity. I'm achieving things, but didn't really necessarily have any value to it. So when I went through the clarity session, there were obviously several questions that we had to answer. One of which was, what are you really clear about and what are you certain about in your life right now? And, what are the things you're uncertain about or the things that you need to change in your life? And when I started diving deep into these questions, I really started understanding that I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm good at or what I'm not good at. I just, all of these questions were coming up in my mind. And a lot of self-doubt then started kicking in that, actually, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know where it is I want to go and what I wanted to achieve. So that session really made me feel that I needed more focus and that I needed to understand where my passions were, what I really, really valued in life and work, in family, in my home, and how to push forward with those goals, whether they're short-term or long-term. And what I did for this session, and I probably worked on this session more than any other session that there was, because I felt like every other session would require me to have that clarity and that understanding and that kind of deep level of value in order to then achieve. So I spent a lot of time on the trains in the morning answering a lot of questions or revisiting questions, and then week by week also changing my answers depending on what my thoughts were and kind of what I wanted to achieve. So for me, this session was amazing, and I've continued to change my thoughts and my visions in the 12 weeks, and I've finally kind of come to a point where I'm quite happy with what it is that I need to achieve or I want to achieve. And I've spoken about this with you recently about the kind of 3 words that I kind of need to live by. And I couldn't figure out what they were. And I had all these adjectives written down, but I couldn't really understand which ones I wanted to utilize for all aspects of my life. So one of the examples was being compassionate. Like, that word really resonates well with me. Because I'm not compassionate enough to myself, and it's something I need to work on, and I've become very clear about that. I'm very compassionate towards my patients. I'm passionate towards my students. I show a lot of empathy. I've got a lot of compassion at home with Lily and for you and extended family members and friends, and I'm relatively good at that. So I know that it has high value in my life, and it's something that I definitely want to focus on. But the other 2 words I was kind of toying with, but I ended up going for creativity, adventure, and compassion. And creativity, I am really creative. I really enjoy kind of arts and crafts and, making things. And recently I've started making a bit of jewelry, and I'm really doing a lot of creative activities with Lily. There's a lot of creativity at work as well, with everything to do with service improvement and innovation, kind of using new apps or creating new ways for patients to be educated about medication. So you need to have that kind of creative mindset. And adventure, God, I love adventure. I can't believe I didn't have this as a word, because I am really adventurous. I've always been adventurous. I've always done crazy things like climbing Kilimanjaro and going to Annapurna and traveling all around the world and moving to Dubai. That's adventurous. And I think that kind of, I didn't really appreciate that in the last couple of years of my life, because we've just been so busy. And then with coronavirus, there's not exactly been much adventure, has there? But I need to reignite it. So yeah, I really love this session. I know I'm talking a lot because I loved it that much.
I just want to remind you that when you were pregnant with Liliana, you were hanging off the face of a cliff in Oman. And if I can find the footage, I'll put some footage up right now as I'm speaking, because I think I've got some video of that. That was when you were pregnant. So adventure is definitely something that even during Lily was born. I mean, I remember the holiday when you were literally about to drop in August, when we went to
went hiking,
Devon and Cornwall, and hiking with your family. And
I had 2 weeks left, and we were hiking a lot.
We had to walk back to get the car for you because we couldn't get a taxi. So we've done. Definitely, that's a great word for you.
Yeah. What do you think about creativity and compassion for me?
I think, again, they fit. Creativity, you don't think you're creative, but you are, in lots of different senses. Whether it's like you do in jewelry making, whether it's home decoration, Christmas decorations, flowers.
Yeah, I do go wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So doing arts and crafts with Lily, even before that, there's definitely been a creative spark there. I used to do adult colouring in books and things like that, which you've done in the past. So I think it's I think they hit the nail on the head.
I know, and I couldn't believe that it's taken me so long. I mean, literally, I've got every other word kind of written down.
The clarity helped you really focus on what you wanted and what you discovered what you're good at as well, right? I think that we need to be clear. And I think the basis of this program is that, high performers, people that perform at a high level. And by the way, this is all based on science. I should have said this at the beginning. This is based on actual research. They've looked at the science, at what makes high performers perform at that level consistently and what makes them get there and stay there. So this is all based on science, and having that clarity is so important. And I think for me, the clarity session was important in that I already knew, or I felt like I knew what my mission was, what my purpose was. I felt like I was on that path already, but it made me clear on how the different roles I play in my life are also linked to that path. So how my role as being a father is linked to my wanting to help other people and get better and improve themselves. Well, of course, that goes without saying. As a father, that's your role to do that. As a husband, what role do I play, and how does that fit into my bigger picture? How this podcast, how my day job, how all the other things that I want to do, how can I link them into my purpose? And one of the big revelations for me came, which I'll talk about in a moment, is trying to harness my love for technology and cameras and recording. And that's why we're sitting here doing a video podcast with all this gear around us, because I'm into that. It floats my boat, and it's about learning. It's about educating myself, and how can I tie all of that into what I'm doing? And now I've figured out ways that I can do that, and it's really exciting. So for example, I mean, this happened before the coaching program, but where I work, they wanted to. I put the suggestion forward that they, some ages ago, that they should do a podcast, because it's a great way to get information out to people. And then kind of nothing happened for ages, and then they came back to me and said, "Hey, we love your idea, or we want to start a podcast. Would you help us out, and would you get involved?" Now, I'm not an expert. I've got less than 50 episodes out there. And look, anybody can put a podcast together nowadays. Anyone can just get an Anchor account. It's free. You can sign up. You can grab your phone and you can do it. And that's brilliant. And I think everyone should do that if you want to start a podcast. Don't do it the way that I did it, which was to look at all the. But I did it this way because this is what I'm interested in, right? I wanted to know, how can I get the best quality? How can I get the best audio? What do I need to get the best audio? And as an ex-DJ and as an ex-wannabe sound engineer, that side of me came out as well. Okay, well, I get to play with microphones. Okay, what about camera? What about video? And I thought, I'll wait for video. Let me just get the audio. Let me nail the audio down. And I have had feedback in the past from people saying, "Hey, your audio is really crispy. I love it." And I'm like, thank you. That was intention, right? And again, this came out one of the sessions. I don't know if it was a clarity session, but we talked about intention, about doing things with intention. And the revelation for me in that session was that for years, people called me OCD. They're like, "You're OCD, everything's too extra." And I started to believe that. I started to label myself, "Oh yeah, I'm a little bit OCD." And maybe there is a little bit of that inside me. But actually all it was I do things with intention. If I'm going to put a podcast episode out there, it's going to sound the best that I can. It's going to be with intent. It's not going to be a fluke if it turns out well. If I go into a coaching session, especially those session number ones that I have, I'm going to make sure that people leave that session feeling like, wow, I can't wait to get back and listen to this guy again in the next session. That's done with intention. It's not about me ticking boxes. It's not a box ticking exercise. I'm not that guy, right? But when it comes to intention, so yes, so intention, clarity, just being clear on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, it made me feel less guilty. I'm like, yeah, of course. Why? I'm not going to worry about getting obsessed with watching YouTube videos about how to, get the best frame rate for a particular lighting situation when it comes to your camera versus using your iPhone. I'm not going to feel bad for those things because I know that that's all down towards my intention of making what I'm doing the best that I can. And a little bit that comes from childhood, and that things that I was really proud of and I did, other people didn't see as the same. It was always like, why couldn't you do better? So if I did something that was worth a B grade, why didn't you get an A? And I'm not saying it was grades or anything like that, but in anything I did, if I created something, if I made something, if I, no one got as excited as I would about something. So now I'm just like, okay, well, I need to make sure that everything I do is of the standard where I'm really happy with it. And I hope that other people, if they take interest in my work, are also going to be happy with it. And as I said this before, if one person is, then that's good enough for me. I'll take that. So the clarity really helped me just to kind of bring things together.
I definitely think that you were quite far ahead in terms of your understanding of what your purpose is and what your kind of vision and mission in life is in comparison to me, which is great. And I've told you this before, but it's really nice to see you now really truly understand what your mission in life is and what you value and what's important to you. And it's a lot of things that we kind of already knew, but now it's become very clear. It's become very obvious, and it's like, oh, how did I not know this already? And I think obviously deep down you did know, but it just heightened your awareness of it. And now every action that you take towards a goal or something that you want to achieve, you are doing everything with intention, with value, with an understanding of what it's going to achieve in the future. I haven't quite reached that yet, but I'm looking forward to when that happens, because I can see how excited you get about so many things now. And it's really nice to see you enjoy a lot of your passions, especially with all this IT stuff. We definitely wouldn't be doing this if it was just me, because I have no idea half the things that you get on with. I mean, even setting up this room for today's podcast, there's, multiple cameras and iPads and phones and...
Yeah, but like I said, you don't have to do those things to do what you do really well, right? And you can, you don't have to have that level of understanding. And that's just the way I choose to apply it. And the reason I do that is because I know what I'm passionate about. I know what I love to do. I love gadgets. I love technology. I'm not going to lie, right? So I've just found a way to integrate that into my purpose, into my life. I've just figured out a way, and it's just well, I'll just do a podcast, or I'll do a video podcast, or I'll go onto YouTube now, and then I'll do YouTube videos for other people, and I'll help other health professionals make crispy videos. And so I've just figured out a way. How can I? And let's go back. When I was at school, I love PE. I love playing sports. I love playing football and games. And okay, well, let me study PE. And that way I get to study something that I really love. And then I did that at A levels, and then 20 years later, I decided to become a PT because I still had that love for sports and fitness. So I've just always figured out a way to take what I love and make that the main thing, to make that my thing that I can do in life. And isn't that what anybody wants, right? Everybody wants to work in a job or in a career or own a business about something they're passionate about. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe not everyone. Maybe there are some people out there who are just, they invest and they just put money here, put money there, and that's great. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's not me. I can't work in a job where I don't have the passion to wake up every single day and just go out and do my job. Right? I can't do it. Or if there's something that stops me from enjoying that job, like for many years I worked in an industry where I was miserable. I hated it. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more soon in an upcoming episode about my journey. But, I was miserable, and I thought, why am I doing this to myself? Why don't I just do something that I actually enjoy and be happier? Not happy. Am I happy if I got to the end point? I don't know if there is ever an end point of happiness, but I'm a lot happier than I was when I was, thinking of ways how can I not go to work today? How can I avoid this scenario today at work? How can I avoid? Yeah. So, I don't know what I was saying. I was saying, yeah, I've just figured out a way of finding a way to integrate my passions, and you're doing the same. You're doing the same, right? With your podcast. Forget the technology side of the podcast. You've found a way of channeling your passion for pharmacy, for passion for your career, passion for travel, adventure. And you can talk about this with other pharmacists and show other pharmacists, hey, listen, it's not pharmacy. You're not just a drug dealer. You're not. You are a drug dealer. You're not just a pill pusher. You're not just the person that, stands at the back of Boots and gives you your medication. There's so much more to that. So you found that way through your podcast. You're finding that way through teaching your students. We're talking behind the scenes about other things that we can do for the wellness of the students. So how can we integrate wellness into what you're doing? You've integrated wellness into your own workplace. You've started, the yoga challenge that you did for a while over the lockdown, the walking club that you've started with your Pharmacist Diaries, with just your software and IT things that you've helped the company or your department figure out, hey, we should be doing this a different way. And we've talked about this before, haven't we? Where it's like, well, why is this institution that's been going for years, why are they not using the latest things? Because no one's believed in growth. No one's gone there and gone, hey, do you know what? There's a better way of doing this than just having pieces of paper stuffed into a filing cabinet.
An Excel sheet.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to go. So one day someone must have came into an environment where it was just filing cabinets. I remember my first job. It was right. So it was just all paper and a fax machine. So someone came along and they said, you know what, we can do this better. We need to start using a computer. And someone probably laughed and go, what are you talking about? Don't be silly. We can't use computers. And look where we are today. So now you've gone into an environment where they're using computers, great, but they're using an old system that doesn't work, just using Excel spreadsheets. And it's like, hold on a minute, there's software that can do this better. So someone needs to come in and say, hey, we can do this better. And I said to you ages ago, why can't that person be you? And it turns out it was you, and you did do it, and you've made it happen. So, so you are doing that. You are on that journey. You are figuring out ways to find it. Just because they don't align with mine, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Progression.
Yeah, progression.
It's key.
Exactly. Okay, so we talked about clarity. We talked about intention. Energy was a really good session.
Oh yeah, I had to work a lot on energy. But I found a way to do it, and I found a way to incorporate it into my daily routine.
So let's just summarize. High performers find a way to generate energy, right? This is a big thing that I hear as a coach, as a trainer, and I'm sure we've all heard it. Oh, I just don't have the energy. I don't have, I just feel like something's lacking, or I'll do it when I'm feeling a bit better. No, we create energy. Right, we generate the energy. We move energy. We can't even create it. Right, you move it from one source to another. And I think this was a really interesting session just to help highlight how much you actually can do when it comes to your own energy,
and how much of an impact it has on your life.
Yeah,
because without energy, you just will struggle mentally, emotionally, physically. Your productivity is not as good. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be as clear. If you're absolutely exhausted and you don't have energy, you're not going to have, much of an understanding of what your intentions are, what your values are. So, this session was also really important for me. And I wrote down a lot of habits that I need to start doing, a lot of things I already knew I needed to do, but I had to find ways to incorporate that into my routine. And then also I had to write down a lot of habits that I needed to stop doing as well, which were really important for energy. The main thing that came out of this session was I started walking to the train station, because in the beginning, when I was still kind of living here in our new place, as well as living in central London some nights, there was no consistency to my routine. I felt really kind of uneasy because I just didn't have that routine, and I just couldn't incorporate it into my life to the extent that we do now. But then I just made that decision that actually, every day that I go on the train, I need to start walking to the train station, or running to the train station, or cycling to the train station. just that is going to form part of my exercise routine because it works so well. When we lived in Queen's Park and I was running twice a week, 6 miles to work, and I really enjoyed it, and my energy definitely improved. So for me, it's a 50-minute walk, which is 3 miles to the station. I listen to my podcasts, my audibles, sometimes listen to music. It's time to myself. It's a quiet time on the road. I literally see, 1 or 2 cars at that time of the morning because I leave at 5:50, 5:45, 5:50. So I wake up at 5, leave the house about 5:45, and then get the train to work from there. And then it kind of developed on from that. So as soon as I got on the train, I got into a habit of do not do anything except open up your diary. Start scheduling your days, reflecting on the day before and what went well and what didn't go well, understanding how I was feeling, what my emotions were like, and setting intentions for the day, setting out goals for the day, and scheduling time. So that was the biggest game changer for energy. And then alongside that, we obviously joined Champneys at the same time. So we found a way, though expensive, but ended up calculating it the multiple times a week. It's not that expensive at all. And the value that it has in our lives outweighs any cost, to be honest. But scheduling twice a week of going to spend time by myself, whether it's relaxing, whether I'm swimming, whether I'm doing yoga, whether I join a class, whether I do my own little weight training session, or whether I'm just sitting on a sofa and reading and then using the sauna and steam room or whatever it is I feel like doing on that day, it's still time for me. And that, again, completely changed my energy because I had time to reflect and relax and, make time to exercise, which walking to work is great, or walking to the train station is great. But for me, it's still not quite enough. Like, I need to do some resistance training or yoga or strength workouts. I still need to do my cardio, and walking to the train station, though it's great. And I'm getting in so many more steps than I was in the previous, kind of 4 or 5 months. And I'm really proud of that, as well as lunchtime walks I do very regularly just to top up my steps. It just wasn't quite enough for me. And then spending time outside of kind of parenting and work life was really useful. You feel relatively similar about that too, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the key thing for that was just scheduling in that time for yourself, to generate your energy, to feel more energetic. It's finding a way to schedule that in, and scheduling everything, right? That was one of the key takeaways for me from the program. There's no such thing as overscheduling, or there might be, but making sure, and again, that's intention, right? If you're scheduling it, I'm gonna watch this YouTube video. It's in my schedule, so I'm going to do it and not feel bad about it. And that was a really, really fascinating way of looking at it. And again, I would always do these things. I'd be watching the YouTube videos, but part of me would be like, I shouldn't be watching this. And actually, no, it's part of it's intention. It's part of my purpose. It's linked into it. But as long as I schedule it and I don't go down a 3-hour rabbit hole of doing it, that's okay. So the energy piece for me, again, like you said, continuing with the habits, or building new habits of things that we already know about, right? And again, look, everyone knows. Do some exercise, eat some vegetables, get your water, get your sleep, right? We all know this. Yeah. But it's the doing it. It's the actual putting it into practice that is difficult for a lot of people. And I think what this coaching really helped you to do is to, and at the end of every session, there was an action, right? What are you going to do? It's all good and well sitting here and listening, but what is the one thing you're going to change this week? What are you going to do differently? And that's helped us to do that. And for me, I've already been quite good with, using my habit tracker. This is the James Clear one that I use. And I, where's the habits? They're at the back somewhere. Yeah. So I use my habit tracker. And I just have all my ticks and everything there. So that's something I've always done anyway, or have been done for the last few years, but I got a little bit more serious with it with regards to the coaching. And one of the biggest things for me for energy, and you mentioned joining Champneys, that was a big game changer, because now we had somewhere to go in the evenings where, let's be honest, we didn't do much with our evenings. We'd both be tired. We'd both feel like we have no energy, get to that time of the day. And then instead of being productive like we were once upon a time, we'd do our podcast recordings, we'd do a lot of Canva work, we'd do a lot of show notes writing, or the creative stuff in the evening. But since, whenever, it's not happened for whatever reason. So now we're just taking some of that time back, where we would often just sit and watch Netflix and do something productive. So we've got a schedule where you go to Champneys one night, I go another night, and like I said, we just spend that time doing what we want to do. And the biggest reason for joining there for me was the sauna, the plunge, the cold plunge pool. And the hydro pool and all that stuff is great. But for me, it was the sauna and the cold plunge. And there's something I've been wanting to do for a while, is get that hot and cold exposure. I've been taking cold showers for ages. I've been trying really hard to sort of, slowly get that water all the way cold, which I've managed to do. But the cold plunge has been amazing. And just jumping in there after, 10, 15 minutes in the sauna, and then just switching back and forth like that has been phenomenal. And the days that I do it, I wish I could do it in the morning. That's the only thing. We're going in the evenings, and that's just because of the way our lifestyle is at the moment. But I wish it's something I could do in the mornings, because I feel when I get back from those sessions, I just feel so invigorated. I feel so energetic, no matter what I've done in the day. And the days that I don't go, like day before yesterday, I didn't go and I should have gone. I regret it. I should have just gone. Yeah, and so I think for me, energy, again, just a reminder, I'm responsible for my energy. I'm responsible for change. And it always reminds me of my favorite saying from my favorite human being, which is, my second favorite human being, third favorite human. Oh, he's a favorite human being. I can have multiple favorites, can't I? When you do favorites on your bookmarks, it's infinite. So, and they're not in order. Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Google. Rich Roll always says, and I don't know if he said this first or who said this first, but I hear it from him a lot, is mood follows action.
Sure does.
And it's so true. If you want to feel better, if you want to feel like you've got more energy, then you've got to take action. You've got to do something. If you don't feel like doing something today, well, that's not going to change unless you do something today. The energy session was big on that for me. It was just to help me get that, again, clarity, focus on I'm really responsible. Again, it's not like we'd know this. I know as a trainer I know this, but you have to remind yourself.
Definitely.
That energy session was good at helping us to do that.
I've achieved quite a few things from when I look back at this list. And actually, one thing that was quite hard, which I've made a goal to achieve every day because it is quite challenging, is drinking 2 litres of water. And when I'm at work, sometimes hours go by and I've realised, oh no, I've not had my water bottle with me, and I've been on the ward and I'm really thirsty and I'm all masked up and, wearing my eye goggles and everything, and, then having to ungown and to drink water, and it's a terrible excuse, isn't it?
Listen, this water thing, I want to talk about it because it's one that I just think so many people's lives could be improved. So many people's lives could be improved, the quality of their lives, if we all just drank a little bit more.
I know.
Look, for those of you listening to this in a relatively developed developed country, you probably are fortunate enough to have clean drinking water available to you. And for those that are fortunate in this world to have clean drinking water available to them and to not be getting 6 to 8 cups, 1.5 to 2 liters, call it what you want, right? To not be getting that is absolutely criminal.
I know.
How long? And this if you're thinking, oh yeah, I know about water, blah, blah, 5 a day, this and that, right? Okay, well, let me ask you this. How long can a human being live without food?
It's a few weeks.
Yeah, about 3 weeks. Again,
yeah.
Give or take. It's about 3 weeks. How long can a human being live without water?
Few days.
3 days. So you can go 21 days without food, but only 3 days without water. And like, it's obvious which one's more important, right? Then you can go, the next question is, well, how long can a human being go without air? Minutes. So we can get onto the topic of breathing if we really want. I'm not going to do that today, but how important learning, and not just, oh yeah, I'm breathing, but actually understanding your breath and mindfulness and meditation. This is what all this science has shown us, that how important the breath is. And we haven't been taught how to breathe. Well, not only have we not been taught how to breathe, we've not been taught how to look after ourselves in the form of drinking the right amount of water, eating the right nutritious food. And this, again, separate conversation. However, yeah, water, I think everybody now, if you're not tracking how much water you're drinking, track it, write it down, and then try and up it, and then see it and write down how you feel.
I've noticed a massive difference, and that's why I make it a goal.
So what are the differences you've noticed since drinking more water?
I don't feel tired during the day. I'm not sluggish. My brain power is definitely way less foggy than it normally is if I am having a sort of tired day. My productivity goes up. My ability to concentrate at the computer and like get through tasks is much faster than on a slow day where I feel a bit sluggish, where I've not had enough. And even around sort of 2-3 o'clock, when I've realized I'm a bit sleepy and I've eaten, I'm at the computer, what's going on? And I figure out, oh gosh, I haven't had enough water, and I drink loads in that moment, that actually even a couple of hours later I notice if I haven't eaten anything else. And obviously I don't then try and substitute that lack of energy with more food and wasting calories unnecessarily, or eating chocolates or sweets and getting a sugar high. I just wait for that water to kind of kick in, and a couple of hours later, genuinely, I actually feel quite a big difference. And it's because I'm really aware that I need it, and it's because I'm aware of how I feel when I have had it, that it's quite valuable to kind of maintain 2 liters a day. It's good. And we bang on about it with Lily as well. Poor girl. She gets hassled.
Yeah, that's another minefield we're trying to overcome, but we'll tackle that. But yeah, good. Okay, so I'm glad you're noticing the benefits off the back of drinking more water. I think everyone does. Look, if you're dehydrated, you know about it, and you feel shitty, you feel crappy. You get headaches, you get brain fog, you get skin, hair, all these different conditions, things dry up, and so yeah, water is king as far as I'm concerned. And I think just if you're lacking in energy, it's the first thing I say to people is, how much water are you drinking? And I think that's important. So yeah, so energy has made a big difference to both of us. Productivity was another big takeaway from this coaching, was scheduling. Yeah, so we've talked about that already. How can high performers are productive? How are they productive? What are they doing? What are the behaviors they're doing? So we talked about scheduling, and just, again, having clarity on what you're doing, why you're doing. And I think everyone struggles with productivity at some stage in their life. I'm pretty sure we do. We all do. But yeah, this just giving us that clear sort of structure and format, and to say, well, all of the things we talked about will help you to be more productive. You've still got to go out there and do the things. So it's scheduling that time. It's making sure that you don't have the distractions. What you're always asking yourself. The question, we haven't talked about the journal. I mean, there's a journal that goes along with the program, which you've. Show it. Go on. Show us your notes. You're very amazingly.
Oh yeah, I'll show you that as well.
Notes, but yeah, some of the questions in there are designed around. How are you going to be more productive? Yeah, there you go. It's a nicely filled out journal.
Yeah.
So just
every hour in the day is scheduled, and actually on this day I schedule from 8 o'clock, but I normally schedule from 5 a.m. all the way down to 9 p.m. It's intense, but it's really important as well that I kind of go back to my 3 words and think to myself, okay, have I been compassionate today? What have I done to demonstrate compassion? Have I been adventurous? I don't achieve that every day. Sometimes it's like a cheeky lunch date with someone, or having a coffee with someone, which was unexpected. So I'm like, oh, a little adventure during the day, or going for a walk unexpectedly during my lunch, that I allow that. And And then compassion, adventure, and creative. I try to make sure that I've done something creative within my day as well. But also linking it to my goals. What are my work-related goals? Have I taken the steps towards achieving them, or what steps have I taken to make sure I achieve them? And, the same goes for home life, whether that's paying bills or organizing Lily's vaccines or getting, her dental checks set up, or, there's a million and one things as a parent that you have to organize. Childcare is always a major issue. So, organizing that is really important in my day. And then also thinking about, my passion projects like my podcast and how that's moving forward, and have I taken the right steps to kind of get there. So scheduling was a major, a winner for me. And this diary has really helped me to kind of achieve that, which has been amazing.
So this is a planner that we got as part of the coaching program, which you're supposed to complete every day. And each day it gives you little prompts. It asks you questions about, it's a nice reflection. Just reflection on the day. Yeah, it's been really, really good for productivity and just helping, us along the way. And just if it's written down, of course you still got to stick to it. And sometimes you don't stick to everything that's written down there, but at least there's some intention there, and it helps you to see things. And then you can go back and have a look at what, sometimes you miss something off there. Oh no, I do this. I'll skip something and I'll be like, it's that same thing I skipped again. Why am I skipping that one thing? Okay, let's look at that. What's stopping me? What's the real obstacle? It's not I clearly skipped it for a reason, and I clearly keep missing that one thing off for a reason. Is it important?
Yeah.
Is it really important enough for me to have it on there? And if it is, then why am I not doing it? And then it helps you to sort of break that problem down. And it's not about finding a blame. It's not about saying, oh yeah, I'm not doing something, or I haven't done something. It's actually just helping yourself become aware that, hey, do you know what? You keep skipping the same thing over and over again. It's like the person that wakes up in the morning and goes, I'm going to exercise today. Today's the day I'm going to do it. And then at the end of the day, it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day.
So sad when that happens.
Tomorrow's the day I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna wake up and do it. And look, we've all been there. I've been there. I've been there very recently. But that's fine. Okay, well, you're skipping it. Why? Let's talk about why. What's really going on? And it just helps you to get that little bit of a deep dive.
And it also has a weekly review and a monthly review, which is really, really good. It really helps you to understand the good things that have happened in your week, things that you need to improve on. I mean, I told you just yesterday that I keep writing down, what's something that you're kind of anxious or worried about in, today's schedule, or something that's going to trip you up or make you upset. And train delays is always my answer every day. I'm not worried about anything else. And I've written it down that many times that now it's become clear to me that, train journeys are frustrating. But it does help you to understand what you need to do in that situation if it happens. So normally I would get really frustrated because I don't have any other way of getting home except that train. And there are times when I've had to take different trains and then get an Uber, and it's just cost me so much money, like £60 for the whole day of travel just to go to work. It just seems so crazy when you add in the taxi fares. And it just seems so unfair that the trains keep, getting cancelled, or there's issues, or someone's jumped out onto the platform is a regular occurrence, unfortunately. But now I have awareness that it upsets me, and I find ways to kind of appreciate what I could do with my time if that happens, or how to deal with my emotions in those situations so I don't get frustrated. So the diary's been really good for that. Other things with productivity, I mean, the scheduling was definitely a winner. But even at work now, I set a timer on my phone. Every 45 minutes, it tells me to take a walk. So I sometimes, get up and take a walk. I go say hello to someone is mainly what I do. Leave my desk and go and visit someone else in the office and just say hello and have a 2-3 minute conversation. Have a cup of tea with someone and then go back to work. And just getting up from my chair and kind of having that quick stretch is really valuable to my energy, and also not having to concentrate for like 2 to 3 hours of solid time, instead kind of breaking it up into 45 minutes and then, coming back to that same task or moving on to something else, which is good.
Yeah, I've been doing that. Unfortunately, I can't just get up and start talking to other people because I'm on my own, but I do get up and we did this in one of the sessions. We talked about it. Remember the eyes thing?
Yeah.
Where you just focus your eyes, and I look outside here and I'll just stand. I actually go outside in the front doorstep and I'll just stand and look at the hills, and I'll try and focus as far away into the Chilterns as I can. And that's something that's to do with your eyes. When we're working, especially when you're at a computer, your focus point is, what's in front of you, your arm's distance away, and our eyes, it impacts our eyes. So actually getting out there, it's almost like exercise for your eyes, isn't it? It's just focusing on something far away. It's something we don't do. I can't remember, I'm gonna need to look up the research that Dr. Sadhguru told us about this, so I'm sure he mentioned it, or I've heard it somewhere, about how in the modern life, where our average focusing distance is something so short, it's crazy. Whereas if you go back through evolution, we were looking really far away. We're looking on the horizon. We're looking out for predators. We're looking for hunting opportunities. So we've kind of gone the other way. So just standing outside, looking out as far as I can, just get some fresh air. Just be mindful for a minute, and then getting back to work. And in fact, Brendan Bouchard talks about this in the High Performance Habit book, in terms of transitions. And when you're transitioning from one activity to another, we just get on with it, right? So you stop washing the dishes and you go straight to your computer and you sit down and you open an email and you finish with that email and you go straight to the next email, or you go to another application and you open another application, and before you know it, it's just you come out of that and you've got brain fog. Whereas if you just stop between each transition and you do some, he goes through it in the book, I won't go through every single detail, but if you just do some breathing techniques, or you ask yourself a couple of questions, who do I need to be on my A game for right now in this next thing I'm about to do, it just helps you to pause and actually perform better at what you're about to do, but also give you that little bit more clarity. And I think that was fascinating. The book here, this is the book, isn't it?
And walking into situations with intention rather than just floating into the next activity is really valuable.
So I think, along with Atomic Habits, this has been one of the key game-changing books for me. So I've actually been listening to the audio book, and I've had it on repeat. I'm on the second time listening through it. But a lot of the things we've talked about in the program, plus a lot more, are in this book. And I highly recommend it. If you can't get a coach, and not everyone has the luxury of getting a coach, I highly recommend this book, because it really does help you to get a little bit more awareness and more structure to your life, and it helps you, to actually, it bridges the gap from, I know I need to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we all know, I had this conversation this morning with my group. It was a session 1, and I just was like, look, you all know, there's no point me telling you what to do. You all know it. Like, you all know, you've been told to eat better food and to do some exercise. But
how?
But this is the how, isn't it? It's the how.
And taking the action. And
then actually taking action. And I think that's where a coach has been a profound impact on us, and it can be on anyone. I think that's where a coach is someone that you can be accountable to, someone that can ask you the questions and prompt. And if you think, one of these sessions we didn't talk about, which I really resonated with me, which was the influence session. And the reason I love that session so much is because I've never really felt that I'm someone who has difficulty influencing people, but I don't know. I've never known why, right? I've never stopped and thought, oh, why is it that I'm good at influencing people? And the structure that was when we went through there was, challenging people the way, or just challenging people. Challenging how they think, what they think, shifting their beliefs. So challenge them, shift their beliefs, and then, of course, role model the way. And then when we went through that, I was like, oh, yeah, I've always done that. And I think back to not my first job, but my main career, which before working in healthcare was in the recruitment industry. And there I was responsible for influencing people. I had to influence candidates to take a particular job, or I had to influence a client to give me their business so I can find people for them. And then I had to influence them to interview someone and take this candidate. And I had to so there was influence built into what I did there. So from day one, that's what I've been doing. I've been standing up in front of people talking and, trying to convince people. As a personal trainer, you're influencing all the time. You're trying to get clients to come and work with you, or influencing clients when they're working with you to do a certain exercise or change their behavior, influencing people in group exercise class to do a certain thing a certain way. So there's a huge amount of influence there. And I've always been that guy who challenges people. And again, I wouldn't have said this is how I influence. I challenge people, I role model the way, and I shift beliefs. But I always challenge people and I say, okay, well, if that's what you think, and I put a different perspective and I shift their belief and their way of thinking. And of course I role model the way. Yes, I've just always role modeled the way because I've just always felt it's the right thing to do for me. And whether people agree with it or not, it's not the point. I just feel like this is what I feel is the right way to do something, and I'm going to do it. And I will coach people, and I guess I'm really more referring to when I was a personal trainer. And this is how I coach. This is how I teach. This is what I believe in. These are the principles I believe in. Of course, everything would be tailored for a specific individual, but I would do those things as well myself because I felt it was the right thing to do. So. Influence. Having influence is a key part of any high performer. And what did you get from influence?
I have a lot of work to do, is how I feel about that topic. But it's fine. I'm happy because I will progress. And I made a lot of notes because I get frustrated when I can't influence people, and I couldn't really understand why. And I'm still kind of understanding what that issue is. But I've started to take quite small steps in the right direction. So now when I'm with the training pharmacist, the pre-reg pharmacist, before we go and counsel a patient, I set some intentions and kind of, what do we want to achieve from this session with this parent and this child? Like, what are our goals? And I do start to kind of challenge them a little bit. And some of the trainee pharmacists, they started in August, so they're still quite new. Still a bit nervous. Some of them still feel a little bit uncomfortable talking to children because it's different. It's not like talking to the elderly or an adult. It's completely different. And then you've not only got the child, you've got the parent as well. So you've got to tailor it to two different people. And that's quite challenging for them, and they feel uncomfortable. So I'm kind of putting them out of their comfort zone and saying, look, I'm here to support you. You do the work and I'll chip in where needed and give you the feedback, and you can learn from those experiences. And I kind of challenge them, which is really good. And a lot of the influence session, I made notes about being a role model as a parent. And for Lily was kind of the main aspects of my life that I kind of thought, this is where I need to influence and this is what I want to achieve. So I did really enjoy that session, but I need to focus on it a lot more. Definitely.
At least you know that now.
Yeah, definitely. And I can apply the principles and the guidance that came from the coaching into my day-to-day life, which is amazing.
So I guess just in summary, I think it was, I said this already, it was a really good experience. It was very valuable. Particularly doing it together, I think, was definitely way more valuable than one of us doing it and then trying to convince the other person to come on board, because it just makes life easier. So I'm very happy we did it. Met some great people on the group. It was a nice, small, intimate group, which was great, which is fantastic. And yeah, I highly recommend it. I think anyone who is thinking about thinking about going to the next level or is stuck. I think especially if you've got great ideas and you feel like you've got like almost like how I felt a little bit in terms of I've got this great idea, I think I know what my purpose is. I kind of get all that, but how do I now take it somewhere? What do I do with this? And I think if that's you, then having a coach in whichever shape it takes is a brilliant way of getting that clarity to help you to that next level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are so many good things that came out of this, coaching. I even think that relationships of mine have changed, including my relationship with you has been completely different. Mm-hmm. It's changed our marriage to some extent, in a good way. I feel so much closer to you. I feel more aware. I understand where you're coming from, what your emotions are like, and I didn't necessarily appreciate those as much as I should have. I'm not being critical towards myself, but I definitely think it's had a massive impact on this family, which is really important and valuable. Something I really care about. So yeah, I highly recommend it. The High Performance Habits book was amazing. I obviously have a physical copy. You've got the Audible. He's got a podcast, Brendan Burchard.
Well, I haven't got the Audible. I've got the free.
Oh, you've got the podcast.
Free. So what he's done is he's released it as a secret podcast episode. So you can't, if you go into his podcast, you won't see the book, but he's got separate episodes which basically put them together. It's the book. So
it's all on his website.
It's all on his website. Yeah, you can check it out. So I'll definitely check that out. But even just, I think a good place to start, if you look at Nilesh's Believe in Growth video broadcast.
Definitely.
So
subscribe
to it. So it's a weekly free video. It's about 10 to 15 minutes long, max 15 minutes. I think some of them are, but they're about 10 minutes long. And he goes through a lot of these things. He talks about a lot of these things in that video. You go onto his website, believingrowth.co.uk, I believe it is. I'll link all the details in the episode show notes and description. But everything's there. You can just watch the videos. You can watch them through. And then every week there's a new video. And a lot of these things are covered. And just that 10, 15 minutes can just help you just to ask those questions to yourself. Oh, yeah. Have I done that today? Or, I've never thought of things that way. And it just prompts that way of thinking. And that will just be a great place to start. And then, of course, follow people like Nilesh on Instagram and look at their IGTV and the content. And this is something I wanted to talk about. And I guess now's the right time to talk about it, but there is so much good information out in the world. There is so much good. And look, this is again how I'm trying to frame things in a positive light. Technology, I love technology. We've talked about this already. I love IT, I love gadgets. And one of the reasons why I always want to know what the latest thing is, or get on top of the latest trends, or the new way of doing things, or the new, the new phone, this new thing this new phone can do, is not because I want to suddenly go out and buy all these things and own all these things, but it's because I want to see where this is going, because it's amazing what we can do. I remember when I was a kid, I used to think, wouldn't it be amazing if you could pause TV? If I could just pause it, or I could rewind TV. Wouldn't that be amazing? You can do that now.
Did you think that as a child?
Yes, I did think that. I used to think, why can't I rewind or pause TV? This is crazy, surely. And we can do that now, right? Look at what you can do with the phone in your pocket. And we've got all of this fancy equipment set up, right? We could just be sat here with a phone. And that's it, right? So you've got a studio in your pocket. But so when it comes to learning, when it comes to, we didn't talk about purpose, but one of the sessions was on purpose, and the definitions of one of the pillars of purpose. I don't know how you call this, but your purpose, is about something you're passionate about, your willingness to learn, skill development. So passion, skill development, and for the benefit of others, right? So in this journey, learning how to create a podcast, learning how to take good video, learning how to set the lighting, all of that is in my chase for my purpose. And when it comes to skill development, just looking at that one piece, nobody who is, again, I want to say careful, who has access to the internet, you have no excuse. You can learn anything you want. You want to learn how to build a kitchen cabinet? There's someone on YouTube who will show you how to do it. You want to learn how to take better photos? there's a free course or a free newsletter out there that someone has created for you, right? You want to learn how to arrange flowers? There's going to be, again, videos and Instagram accounts. And you want to have to do makeup? There you go. You go on Instagram. I wanted to, Sheena, Neil's wife, put up a really cool little reel or whatever the other day about how to do these plaits or something. I can't remember what she did.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
And I was like, and I wasn't going out there for that information, but I was just like, that's amazing. And I replied to her, I was like, that's amazing. I'm going to try that on Lily. I know now who to come to for hair advice, because I have no clue how to do Lily's hair in the morning, right? I'm the one, she was the kid that goes to school with the messiest hair, and I feel really bad for her. And when I saw that video of Sheena, I was like, duh, Sunjay, why don't, because I think of YouTube as technology, videos, cameras and IT equipment. I'm like, just go on there and learn how to plait someone's hair. I'm sure someone's put a YouTube video up about it. And guess what? There are hundreds, right? There are thousands. So my point is, you can learn to do anything. So harness the technology, schedule in that time, right? Don't feel bad. Don't just go down a rabbit hole and start watching cat videos, right? Because you're not going to learn a lot from that unless you're doing a study on cat behavior. But go out there and schedule in the time and pick something and that you're passionate about and learn about it. Figure it out.
Yeah, true.
If you really love something that much, if you're really passionate about something that much, you can find the way. And I think that, for me, is so crucial and so important in this day and age. So if someone has ideas and we want to do things, or you're stuck in a rut, there's a way out. There really is a way out. You just need some principles. You need some structure on how to apply it. You need to figure out how you can do these things that you are passionate about alongside. And this is the problem, right? People think that these two things are completely exclusive of each other. I have a job that pays my bills. I want to do these other things, but I don't have time to do these other things. So like you said at the beginning, I'm all or nothing. I won't do them then. And then we end up putting the focus and our energy on our job, which we don't love. We're just doing it because it pays the bills. We are doing it so that we can put food on the table for our children. We're doing it so that our kids have clothes to wear. They get to go to the Halloween parties with outfits and costumes, and they can buy presents for their friends when they go to birthday parties. And we just we become in this cycle of, I have to do this to serve all these other aspects of my life. What happens to that individual? What happens to that person? They stop being themselves. They stop being them genuine self. They just become a robot. And you can see this in movies when you see how robots are going to take over humans and all this stuff. That it may seem like fiction, but it's true, right? Because there are some parts of what we do that are so robotic that anyone can do it.
Mm.
In the future, are you really? If I'm not adding value as a parent, I'm not adding value as a husband, if I'm not bringing humor or humility or fun or learning or any of these things, I'm going through this motion, I'm just going through the rut, what's the point of being here? Someone else can come and do that for me. We get a machine to come and feed people and make food and do all these other things. The whole point of me being here is that I'm adding something. And I think everyone out there, just remember that you just need to figure out, how can I bring the things that I love? Why can't I do them side by side? Of course you can. Absolutely you can.
Definitely you can.
And it's not even about getting paid for it. It's just about looking after yourself, right? One of the things that we've taken from this is, and you talked about this, is that self-care, that self-compassion. Is actually, I need to spend some time doing the things that I love. If my spare time, I get this answer a lot, what do you do in your spare time? I look after my kids. Well, that's not your spare time. That's your job. That's your role. Your role as a parent. Whether you signed up for it or not, if it was an accident, tough, right? And you're still here, that's your job. It's not your spare time. So what would you like to do with your spare time? Oh, I'd like to read, or I'd like to, learn how to play the violin. Or okay, right. Well, find some time. Doesn't matter how long it is, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Find some time. Schedule it into your diary. Look, find that time in your schedule. And do it. And do the thing. Right? Do the thing that you said you're going to do, because mood follows action, right? If you don't do the thing, then you're not going to get closer. And look, by doing the thing, it may not open up all the doors. And I'll just use my journey as an example. I knew 20 years ago, whenever it was, 15 years ago, I didn't want to work in that industry, in the recruitment industry. I knew it. I knew it in my bones. I could feel it. It wasn't me. And for a long time, I was like, well, I have to do this. I don't know what else I can do. I don't know what other options are out there for me. I didn't have a way of channeling my passions. But then when I finally, by accident, figured it out, I was like, oh, well, hold on a minute. I used to like fitness and sport, and I studied, PE, A-level and GCSE, and I wanted to do sports science. So why don't I could be a PT. I can see what they do. I love what they do. You make a difference to people. You change people. It's my passion. Did I think I was going to be a PT for the rest of my life? No, I didn't. And I became a PT very, very late in my life. I was 30 by the time I became a PT. So I definitely knew it wasn't something I was going to do for the rest of my life. However, I didn't live for the next thing. I wasn't living, well, if I do this, then I can become a senior PT, then I can become a director PT, then I can become a celebrity PT, and then I can become a PT to the Dalai Lama. I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking, let me just become a PT. Let me be the best PT that I can. And how did I do that? Well, I modeled other people's behavior. I copied the people around me. And I was fortunate enough to be in an environment where I had some phenomenal athletes who were trainers as well, that I learned a lot of. And I modeled their behavior. And I tried to become the best PT I could. And through that, and then the whole journey, which don't have to go, coming back here and then not doing Pilates, becoming a Pilates instructor, enjoying that and thinking, oh, this is great, but I don't know if this is what I'm going to do forever. I didn't think I was going to be a Pilates instructor forever when I came back to the UK and did that. I was like, well, this is still in line with what I love to do, which is help people to get better, to improve their health. I'm still coaching, I'm still helping, I'm still physical, I'm still doing things myself. So I'll do this for a bit. And then I landed on this diabetes prevention program. And again, I'll say it again, I don't think I'm going to be a coach on this program forever, but right now I'm absolutely loving every single minute and every single day of it. There are moments which I don't, but I love most of it, right? But I'm enjoying the process. And through this process, I started a podcast, and through the podcast, I'm still talking about health. And through that, I'm at a position now where I'm doing more video photo work for people. People are coming to me and say, hey, your videos look great. Your audio is great. Can you do some recording for me? I'm like, well, it's not what I do, but hey, why not? Why can't I? And again, I've figured out a way to link what I love to do with my overall goal. If my overall goal is to help people within the health space, well, what difference is it if I help you to change your diet by listening to my podcast, or whether I help you to change your behavior by watching a video that I've helped another creator create? It's the same thing, right? It's still the same mission. I'm still helping people. So, but none of that would have been possible. And again, when I made that decision, I want to be a PT, that's not what I was looking towards. That wasn't what I was thinking about. Oh yeah, one day I'm going to have a podcast, and one day I'm going to have this many followers and do that. No, I'm just going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to do what I'm doing right now to the best of my ability. And we'll see what happens. Because life is not, a script. It's going to change direction. You're going to have opportunities, and the more, and when you kind of engross yourself into that world of what you actually love to do, you start seeing all these other doors open up. You start to think, oh right, I can do this. Oh right, I didn't know that you could do that as well. Oh right, oh there's this program as well now, not just diabetes. Okay, So yeah, that's my rant on learning. I just think anyone, who has access to the internet, I think you've got such an opportunity right now. I'll tell you why it's such an opportunity right now, because not everyone has figured it out. And it's not that it's a race. It's not a race. But right now, we are especially after 2020, where the importance of technology and communicating via technology and delivering information via and doing living your livelihood via technology. Now that's become so important, and so, we can do lots of things. We don't need to be in front of people. Now people are really gearing up. Now people are really cranking up the volume on, okay, let's get things online. Let's start doing things. Let's put things out there. Let's learn. But there's still so much growth. There's so many industries. Again, just look at the different things that you can find on Instagram. Just look at the different things you can find on YouTube. Just look at how many different podcasts there are.
I am subscribed to way too many, but it's good. I really enjoy it.
Fine, that's a different conversation about prioritizing. But my point is, it doesn't matter what you love doing. Someone out there also loves doing that thing. So I guess just if you really feel like that's what's your gut's calling you to do, then try to bring some of that into your life. Even if the outcome isn't to make any money out of it, it's going to bring you some joy. It's going to bring you some fun. Everything that, little things. So music, for example, I kept all my CDs and I kept all my records and all that stuff. And, I'm trying not to be a hoarder. I'm trying to live as minimal as lifestyle as you can. But I didn't want to get rid of those things because I knew they mean something to me. They have memories associated with them. But for years, they've just been locked up in my dad's loft. Well, since we got a house, I've taken those things back and I've created you helped me create lovely artwork with my CD covers, and now they're on my wall. And I found, whilst I was going through my stuff, I found an old ticket to a Michael Jackson concert that I'd I kept it way back when in 1991 or 92 when I went. I was like, I'm going to keep this. And for years it was just filed away somewhere. Now it's on a frame on my wall. Yeah, so I don't know why I went onto that tangent, but my point is, bring something else. My point was, bring something that you love into your life, even if it's that, for example, right? That example. Now I'm really excited about, what else can I find that I've kept with intention that is going to bring a little bit of joy to my life? So we're doing up our offices, or we've kind of almost done up our offices. And we were thinking about pictures and stuff to put on the walls. And I was like, do you know what? I want it to be surrounded with things that are meaningful. And now suddenly all these things that I've kept as memorabilia, I've got somewhere to put it finally. And I feel so happy to have that. And so now when I sit in my office, it's not just sitting in an office that looks like any other Instagram photo or YouTube studio setup. It's things there that actually mean something to me. And it makes me want to spend more time in there, and makes me want to be more productive. It makes me want to engage and share and be passionate. So,
and you love your space.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that whichever form that takes, just bringing something that you're passionate about into your life, do it. Just do it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, you're right. And I love it. And I love your passion today. I love your excitement today, though you are like this a lot, but it's just getting bigger and better every time that we have conversations.
Well, I think, like I said earlier, I don't feel bad now for some of the things that I felt perhaps were selfish for a while. I don't have that guilty feeling because I'm like, no, I'm doing this for a reason. There's intention here. There's a bigger purpose here. It's not just about me. It's about everyone. Because if I'm happier, then you're happier and Lily's happier. And if you're happier, I'm happier and Lily's happier. And if Lily's happier, then you're happier and I'm happier.
Everyone's happy. And we're all living the dream. And we have to thank Nilesh, really. Because this episode is really dedicated to him and his coaching and what his coaching has actually brought to our lives, which is actually quite incredible. Thank you, Nilesh. And to myself.
Yeah, thank yourself for turning up.
Yeah, and that's what he'd say.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. It was all you. Which is true. We've put in the work.
A good coach should say.
Yeah, we've put in the work. But he's guided us along the way, which has been amazing. And he's a new friend and a new companion, which is really nice. Yeah. I love it.
Good. Okay. We've got lots more to talk about, but we haven't got all the time. But your podcast is doing really well.
It is. I had a big win during my our coaching that I reached 10,000 downloads.
Woo.
Whoop whoop. And 90 countries listening in.
Amazing.
Which was a massive achievement, completely unexpected, but it's keeping me going. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from students and pharmacists who've been listening, and it has been really extraordinary. It really does make the role rewarding, and doing all of this in my spare time. And it is very time consuming. There's a lot of organization that goes in the background, especially as we both do all of this work ourselves. And it just makes it worth it.
It was easy. It was easy during lockdown when one of us was on furlough, but
Yeah.
it has become a little bit trickier. But we enjoy it so much that we find ways to make it happen. And yeah, talking about your podcast, we just had your first walking club.
Yeah.
Walking club, is that what you call it? Walking club.
Pharmacist Diaries Walking Club. Yeah.
So I came along and filmed that and recorded some recordings. So I haven't put all that together, but I will. So you'll see that up on Pharmacist Diaries Instagram and YouTube.
And YouTube, watch this space. Yeah, how exciting!
You've started to flick that. You've started using that switch on Zencaster to turn your video on, which is good. So now you're going to record the video, and I'll be putting some of that content together. So yeah, lots of exciting times. I got loads of guests. Again, it's all the back of the coaching, the productivity, and one of my words was courage, being bold. That was one of my words, was be bold, approach people, don't be afraid. And I've got some fantastic responses from that. So yeah, you're going to see some really good episodes coming out over the next few weeks. The consistency is something we're working on. Can't promise I can be as consistent, but I'm striving towards that, but it's just fitting it all in. But yeah, it's fun times at the moment. So really exciting and looking forward to, what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to my holiday.
Oh, yes. I'm doing a countdown, obviously, because every time we have a holiday, I do a countdown. So we got 2 weeks left and we're going to Devon. I can't wait.
Another glamping trip.
Trip.
I'm going to document as much of that as I can. I'm going to save some time to actually just enjoy it, but I will, and I'll share what we learn, and we're going to do a podcast episode, aren't we? So that'll be our next. I'm not going to say too much about that now, but we've got a special podcast episode planned for that holiday, so that's going to be exciting. And yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, it was good to catch up today and kind of recap everything we've done in the last few months. Go you, Sunjay.
Go you, Anisha.
Thanks.